Besides the name calling, the Facebook post in its totality was a palpable falsehood. I was never involved in the passage of the sanitation levy, as I was not a member of the Finance Committee of Parliament, let alone to be in a position to influence the composition of the membership of the committee. And I have the Hansard as documentary support for what I'm saying. I have the votes and proceedings of Parliament. Unfortunately, I left them in the office. I think I have them here. Yes. So for the media, the report of the committee as well as the vote and proceedings are here. If you want to do some research on the matter that he alleged that I was involved and I channeled, I made sure that the membership of the committee was, changed, and then the monies from the sanitation levy were channeled to my friend, and so on and so forth. I'm not friends with whoever was the beneficiary of the sanitation levy. But interestingly, A+ warned me in the post not to do anything silly and that he will come after me if I did. That is laughable. First of all, I do not act silly because I think through the consequences of my actions, not only for my person, but also for others. That is what we were taught in Notre Dame Minor Seminary, and I am proud to say, without fear of any contradiction, that I have kept faith with that principle. Secondly, the threat is laughable because I have nothing to hide. I am reliably informed that his basis of saying that I am corrupt and a thief is that I took campaign contribution from a businessman at East Legon known as Dr. Sledge, and that he also knows the people who donated pickups for my campaign. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if receiving donations for your campaign or getting a pickup for a campaign is thievery or corruption, then there are 276 thieves in Parliament, including the person who was making the allegation himself. So, ladies and gentlemen, if A+ has any evidence of corruption or thievery against me, I am challenging him today to call a press conference and present the evidence or present it to the police to investigate me. In contrast, the media should ask him about the silly thing that I was about to do, which frightened him so much into making that silly post about me. He should be asked what he knows about the National Service ghost name scandal and related matters. If he can give truthful answers to these questions, then Ghanaians will know why he took to social media to do what he did. But let him be warned that in my hometown of Zorungu, we do not fear mud being thrown at us. On the contrary, we walk into the mud to deal with the person doing the mud slinging. And I am prepared to walk into the mud with A+. Because what I have about him and the National Service scandal, he should come and tell you. I'm challenging him. In consequence, and in exercise of the power conferred on me under Article 88 of the Constitution, I have today filed charges against Mr. Boahene, his wife Angela Ajay-Boateng, one Mildred Donko, a former employee of UMB Bank, who resigned just in time to join in the criminal enterprise, and a company called Advantage Solutions Limited, a holding company owned by Mr. Boahene and his wife, which received a substantial portion of the funds and was used as a conduit for funneling the funds into other companies owned by them. These other companies are Vertex Properties Limited, Vertex Solutions, and of course, the famous BNC Communications Bureau Limited, which was, if you remember, that was a vehicle that was used to steal the 49,100,000 Ghana cedis from the national security accounts. Based on the evidence on the docket, we have charged Ms. Boahene with stealing, 3 counts of stealing, 1 count of defrauding by false pretenses, another count of willfully causing financial loss to the state, another count of using public office for profit and money laundering. His wife, Angela Boateng, has been charged with conspiracy to steal, collaboration to commit the crime of using public office for private benefit or profit, conspiracy to commit money laundering and money laundering. In the case of Mildred Donko, we have charged her with 2 counts of conspiracy to commit money laundering and money laundering. The same goes for the company known as Advantage Solutions. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, my fellow countrymen and women, I am keenly aware of the criticisms that were leveled against me after my March 2025 press conference. In particular, some of our compatriots accused me of judging Mr. Boahene and his dear wife prior to filing charges, and others opined that what I said of them should have been left to the courts to decide. I respectfully disagree for a number of reasons. The first is that I said nothing at that press conference that suggested even remotely that their guilt had been predetermined. Far from that. As the Attorney General of this Republic, I am the first to acknowledge that no matter how watertight the evidence of a prosecutor is, the accused is still entitled to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. That is a principle enshrined in Article 19 of our Constitution. And I cannot go against that cardinal principle. The second reason why I disagree with those of my fellow countrymen and women who think that the matters are dealt with at these press conferences should be left to the courts is that the constitutions require that we act, at least in public office, with probity and accountability. I see these press briefings, including the one I'm having today, as a way of breathing life into those cardinal values of our Constitution. Lastly, I think that there is absolutely nothing wrong with a prosecutor exhibiting confidence in his case. With particular reference to the case under review, the diligent investigations by the Economic and Organized Crimes Office led by Mr. Raymond Archer gives me a high level of hope and confidence that, all things being equal, I will obtain convictions on most, if not all, of the charges that I have preferred to about what they know they have agreed to testify in this matter. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, my fellow countrymen and women, between March 2025, when I announced the arrest and detention of Ms. Boahene and his accomplices, and now, there has been some speculation as to whether my press conference was yet another piece of political propaganda. Some media houses actually claimed that I had been deceived into holding the press conference and that I had in turn misled His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, the President of the Republic. Let it be known that unlike some presidents in the past who were misled, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is on top of his brief and cannot be misled. Indeed, if any appointee would mislead the president, it would not be his Attorney General. So everything I have told the president, I have evidence to prove it, and the docket is replete with documentary evidence of the wrongdoing that has been investigated. Having said that, I wish to let it be known that the delay in filing charges came about because our diligent investigation team came across yet another scheme hatched by Ms. Boahene this time involving Ghana Water Company Limited. This criminal enterprise involved the purported provision of secured internet services to Ghana Water Company Limited by the erstwhile Bureau of National Communications, now National Signals Bureau. The contract document showed that Ghana Water was to pay BNC, that is the national BNC, the sum of 650,000 Ghana cedis every 2 weeks for secured internet services from BNC, that is the Bureau of National Communications. However, for purposes of the payment, Kobina Boahene provided the account details of his company, BNC Communications Bureau Limited, to Ghana Water, which religiously paid for the internet services. In other words, every 2 weeks when 650,000 Ghana cedis of money from Ghana Water left the bank accounts of Ghana Water, instead of going to the National Signals Bureau account, it went to the account of a company known as Bureau of National Communications, owned by Kobina Boahene and his wife. Okay? And then they did what they wanted to do with the money. So for every month, Ghana Water paid 1.3 million Ghana cedis to Kobina Boahene and his company in exchange for internet services provided by the government. Because remember that the National Signals Bureau is a government agency. Now come to think of it, that the government agency is providing secured internet services to Ghana Water Limited, a limited liability company solely owned by the same government. And Ghana Water is spending money that they do not have, okay, to pay for internet services at that cost, 1.3 million Ghana cedis every month. In fact, the figure rose to 1.5 million Ghana cedis every month at the close of our investigations. Now, you remember that in 2020, Bureau of National Communications became National Signals Bureau. And so, because the contract documents stipulated that the payments be made to Bureau of National Communications, Ghana Water then demanded that the check payments be made to National Signals Bureau because of the change in the corporate identity of BNC. What then happened was that any time the check was made out to National Signals Bureau and it landed in the accounts of National Signals Bureau, Kobina Boahene, as director of National Signals Bureau, would then immediately write a check to himself and transfer the money. From our investigations, you can see the movement of the money. Immediately it comes from Ghana Water, he signs a check and transfers the money into his personal company account. Now, today something happened in court. Counsel for the defense told the judge that whatever I had said was a figment of my own imagination. But of course, he is entitled to earn his fee. So he can say that. I have been briefed constantly and regularly. I've seen the evidence